Hello students, welcome to the e-learning class of Rogers Academy. Today I have come up with a new subject and also with a new chapter of it. Today we will be studying about science, and the very first chapter of this subject is living and non-living things. Okay, so before we begin, again I request all of you to please take a book, rough copy, pencil, eraser in your hand and stay and just listen very carefully. Okay, so I hope you all are having this book. The name of the book is Connect with Science, okay? And please open page number 12 of this book. So, shall we proceed? Okay. Whatever we see in our surroundings, things that we see in our day-to-day life, okay, is either a living thing or a non-living thing, okay? Every day we are connecting with the living organisms in our surroundings, be it our parents, be it your friends. They are all living things, isn't it? Because they can breathe. And you also encounter non-living things in your everyday life. Whereas fan, it gives you air, right? But it is a non-living thing. Whereas chair, where you sit down, okay? And a table where you sit and eat a food. So all these things are non-living things. So basically everything that we see in our surrounding can be categorized into two parts, and that is living things and non-living things. So firstly we shall discuss about the living things. Now everybody have their own features and own characteristics. So similarly, what are the things that differentiates between the living and the non-living things? We will see that, okay? So living things have a very special feature which non-living things do not have in them, and that is the most important feature that makes these two different from each other, and that is living things can breathe, okay? That means we can breathe. How do we breathe? We take in the oxygen, we inhale and we exhale. Isn't it like this? Okay, whereas non-living things cannot breathe. Non-living things don't have the characteristics, or you can say a feature, to breathe. Okay, similarly you can take an example from your own home. A fan, they can't breathe, right? A table cannot breathe, a chair cannot breathe. So living things, the next point we come is move. Living things can move on their own. What does that mean? Suppose if I want to move, I can move from one place to another, from again here to here, isn't it? But when it comes to a non-living thing, it cannot move by their own, which means that if I want to move from one place to another, I can move by my own self. Okay, I don't need the help of anybody else, right? But when I want, or when a non-living thing has to move from one place to another, it cannot move by its own, but it needs the help of a living thing, that is human beings. Suppose I have this marker in my hand. If I want to move this from this hand to this one, then how I'm moving? Is this pen moving by itself? No, right? It's moving because I am helping it to move. So that is how a non-living thing moves, okay? It cannot move by their own, but we human beings have the power to move them or change their places. Often you can see in your classroom, the table and the chairs which you have in your classroom is not moved. They don't move themselves, right? We move them. So, okay, that is the second feature of the living and non-living thing. Then the third one, we come to living things can grow. What does that mean? Okay, like a small baby grows into an adult. Okay, a small seed grows into a plant or a flower. How? Because these are all the living things. So with a period of a time, okay, in certain period of time, living things grows gradually, slowly, okay? Like you were a baby, but now you're little bit grown up, right? So that is how a living thing keeps on changing and growing with time. But non-living things do not grow. They remain the same the entire life, okay? They cannot grow only. They remain the same. Understood? So the fourth point that we come is living things needs food. In order to be healthy and to stay healthy, we need food. Without food, we cannot survive. We will die. Can we survive without water? Can we survive without food? No, right? So that is why a living thing needs food in order to survive, whereas non-living things don't eat food. They don't eat apples. They don't eat chocolates, isn't it? But living things does it. Okay. And then the last point we come is feel and reproduce, which means that if I'll hit you, you will feel hurt. But if I'll hit a chair, will that chair will be hurt? No, right? If I'll hit you, you might cry. But if I'll hit a fan, a chair, or table, it will not cry. Why? Because they don't feel. That's why. Okay. Whereas living things feels, that's why they will cry, and they can even reproduce. What is the meaning of reproduce? Like a mother giving birth to her child. Okay. Like an animal gives birth to his own kind of animal. That is a dog. A mother dog gives birth to a puppy. Okay. So living things reproduce. We living things keep on reproducing own variety of things. Okay. So these are the features of living and non-living things. And one more thing, living things can die also, whereas non-living things cannot die. It don't even take birth, it doesn't even die. But living things takes birth and it has to die. Understood? So you can obviously tell me an example of all of this, right? So what is an example of living things? Can you tell me? Example is human being. Obviously, we are the human being, the biggest example of living thing. And also animals, right? And also plants. Why plants? Because plants makes their own food and hence it is a living thing. So in my next class, I will be explaining this chapter in a more detailed way. I hope today you're very clear with the difference between living and non-living thing. If you have any doubt, you can come up with your doubts. Okay, thank you so much and do study. Take care. Bye-bye.